I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, thank you everybody for coming. We'll get started with the students of the month.
Thanks for joining your beautiful evening outside for a few moments in here with us. We'll start first of all, student of the month, Mr. Tyndall, student of the month of the junior senior high, and you go ahead and do the Blue River student of the month too.
We don't have any this month.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yep. All right, welcome everybody. We got two students of the month, one for junior high and one for high school. Go ahead and start with our junior high student of the month for February is Kason Bratton. Is Kason with us tonight? He is not. All right, but let's give a round for Kason Bratton. All right, and our high school student of the month this month for February is Chloe Purdue. I know she's here. Come on up, Chloe. All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mr. Tyndall. Student of the month for the elementary, we have Mrs. Fico's going to be here tonight presenting. Mrs. Cohen couldn't be here. She had a family emergency come up. So, yeah.
All right, we have way more than two students of the month for the elementary. Kiddos, when you come up and get your certificate on your way out, there are some yard signs that you can put in your yard to celebrate your achievements, so feel free to grab one of those on your way out, okay? All right, we'll start with Jagger Wilhite. And Weston Herman. Good job. And then Avery Tennell. Briella Bryant. Olivia Lockhart. Maddox Wilhite. Raylan Goodrich. Monroe Bias. Ava Voorhees. And Bruce Sears.
Thank you, Mrs. Fico. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you everybody. Congratulations. At this point, I'll give you that brief intermission to exit to skip the boring stuff if you would like. So, again, congratulations everybody.
Yeah, she's everybody is in line.
Close. Oh, thanks to all you survivors. Couldn't get my wife to stay.
As far as agenda modifications, I have two additions here. I think they should be on your agendas that you received. Letter D under new business. recommend to add, it says second grade teaching position, it should actually be third grade teaching position for the 25-26 school year, and I'll explain that when we come up on that. And then also recommend to add a special education teaching position at the high school. So those are the two modifications that I have.
Sounds good. We'll open the floor for public comment if there's any takers in that realm. Going once, going twice. Sold. Okay. We move on.
Okay, we have consent items and claims, approval of minutes of the previous meeting, and then also approval of accounts payable vouchers.
Any questions or discussion on that?
I have a question. Since I was not here and I did not watch it, I guess it's not a question. I'm gonna abstain from voting. There's that.
Oh.
Wasn't even a question.
Okay. What did you know?
The last meeting, I was not here, so I'm gonna abstain from voting on
From the
them.
minute.
Oh,
Yes.
I got it. Okay. All right. Have a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Okay. 6-0 and 1. However you want to count that. 1 abstain.
You also have the business and financial reports. No approval there, just you have the financial report of cafeteria accounts and also the extracurricular account reports as well.
Any questions, comments on those? Sounds good.
Okay. On to new business, I recommend the acceptance of donations and grants. First, we have the donation from, I'm going to do all these donations together if you guys are good with that.
Mm-hmm.
We had a donation from Mount Auburn Christian Church in the amount of $50 for the Spartan Food Pantry. Donation from the White House family in the amount of $2,630 for the Angel Fund. Donation from the Blue River Foundation, 2025 Workman Grant in the amount of $13,257 for an ag drone for educational program. It's really cool. We're gonna have. And then donation from Casey Pruitt in the amount of $1,000 for the Angel Fund.
Any discussion on that? Okay, motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll
second.
Go ahead, Blake.
Beat me.
All right, all those in favor? 7-0.
Next, we have a recommended approval for the contract between Southwestern and Tecton, our construction management firm that we're planning to work with for our roof replacement and also eventually do some more projects with them. But the agreement you have is in your packet there. So this is just for the roofing portion too.
Just the roofing.
Yeah.
Any comments, concerns on that? Good. For a motion?
Just real quick, it showed completion in November.
Let's see.
Is that going to be cohesive with school schedules and such?
We're hoping so. We'll probably have more to come as we go through the project. So, and they'll keep us informed of the progress and where we're at. So,
Yeah, okay. Just curious if that was gonna bring impact to
my hope is
the day as far as noise and
yeah,
work stoppage.
we'll minimize that as much as we possibly can. And I think we're gonna try to get a lot of the work done over the summer. So November's kind of like the
Cleanup.
cleanup.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm, yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve. I'll second.
All those in favor? 7-0.
Next, we have a recommend approval to clear outstanding checks over the last 2 years.
I guess there's not a lot of discussion on that one, so.
This is something we do every year, right?
Yes, it's yeah, every year.
For a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor? 7-0.
Next, we have a recommendation to add a third grade teaching position for the 25-26 school year. Before we vote on that, I'd like to just give a quick demonstration of what we're looking at here so you guys can see. So if we look at our current class breakdown for Southwestern Elementary School, you can see that we have 3 sections of kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade, and then 2 sections for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade right now. So what we're going to do, if you look at if you look at the 3 sections here, when these students roll in next year, we want to get 3 sections here for the 60 students that we have. So that's kind of what we're looking at, and the kind of the tweener group is our first grade group because we have 51 kids. So the option is we could have 2 classrooms of second grade, which would be 25 and 26 in a class, or we have 3 classrooms of second grade, which is 17 in a class, and I think we agree that 17 is a much better number, especially for our second grade teachers.
No, 25, 26.
So what we actually have a sensory room over at the elementary school that we can add as a classroom. So that's what we're looking to do. So this is kind of what we would be looking at for next school year. And again, those numbers are all estimates because we don't know exactly how many kids we're going to have. But this is why we want to add that 3rd grade teaching position. Right now we don't have 3 3rd grade teachers, so we would like to add them.
Did you mention it, or I missed it, that the expected number of kindergartners coming in is also going to require that 3 teachers in the kindergarten level?
Because I have right now, I think we have.
Oh, we're looking at next year.
We have estimated as 54 students, so that would be our 3 classrooms for next year in kindergarten, so. Yeah.
And budgetarily, we have plenty for this because of the education.
Because it comes out of the education fund, and we have a cash balance there, so I think we can take it on, so.
Yeah. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
I think it's a good idea because I think the small class size is part of the sell for Southwestern, and so keeping that is a benefit for our entire school.
Agreed. Look for a motion to approve that.
I will make a motion to approve.
I'll second. All those in favor? 7-0.
The next thing we'd like to do is we'd like to recommend adding a special education teaching position at the high school. We have some students with some high needs, and we need another staff member to meet those students' needs, to make sure we're meeting our IEPs with fidelity and providing the appropriate services there. So, and this would be coming out of our education fund with our cash balance. So we recommend approval for that as well.
Comments?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. First second. All those in favor? 7-0. Okay. On to the other.
And I think the other, we have the overtime report that you have.
I don't
I
know.
think we need approval there.
No.
So we're ready to move on to reports and presentations. We have two presentations tonight. We're lucky to have 2 presentations tonight. We're going to start first with Zach Sprout. He's our technology director. He's going to talk to us a little bit about technology, where things stand, provide some information.
All right. My name is Zach Sprout, Director of Technology. There are a couple main topics that I'm wanting to hit. The first main topic is going to be switch and AP replacement project for both the high school and the elementary school. The next topics consist of devices for teachers, student Chromebooks, paper cut, and the cooperation of the technology department with the cafeteria or the food department, specifically for the high school. The first thing I will go over is the switch and AP replacement project. The switches that we had inside the school systems, when I called HP to attempt to get into the switches to change the rules around to let staff Wi-Fi talk to devices that are hardwired in, when I called HP, they said that these switches were 10 years past support. So that means 10 years ago, HP said these devices are so old, we're no longer going to support them. So that's a security risk, considering there's been no security updates, no security patches for at least 10 years. That's assuming it got its last one. Then the rest of that proposal would come with, would be with ENA. ENA's contract is ending with Southwestern this year. So I'm not the plan right now is not to renew that contract. And with that, we would have to get the equipment that ENA has rented to us in the contract. So that added equipment is also included in the project. For teachers, I have Mrs. Rockenbaugh and for the high school and Mrs. Kuhn using Mac Airs in the classrooms. So far, I've had very good reports. Mrs. Rockenbaugh states she uses it more than her actual desktop. So far I'm getting very good reports, and I just got docking stations in for those. So now they should just be able to plug it in and use their keyboard and mouse as well.
Zach, real quick, could you back up ENA? Could you explain what that is?
ENA is a contractor that we have. They are an MSP or a managed services provider. So the APs or access points, is there one in here? Please say yes. No.
The Wi-Fi, right?
Okay, so it's going to be on the ceiling. It's just going to be like a white box. But that's what hands out the Wi-Fi. Those all belong to ENA, as well as the switches that are Ruckus inside of the switch towers we have.
Okay. You recall us signing that contract?
Yeah.
Okay.
I need you to break it down like I'm 12. Is that our internet provider?
Yeah. No.
No.
Yeah. Well, yes.
Yes.
They're also our internet provider.
Okay.
But the contract I'm specifically referring to is the MSP contract.
Okay.
So the internet providing the providing of internet. That's not how you say it.
Provision.
For lack of better terms, the provision of internet is via a different contract, and
okay.
that's something that is going to be talked about later. I'm looking to get us into the Shelby County fiber line. All the other schools besides Shelbyville Central are all connected in one fiber line. So once the contract ends with ENA for internet for the provision of internet, then I'm looking to try and see what I can do to get us in that Shelby County fiber line.
Follow-up question.
Yeah.
When was that fiber line put in? Just for
the Shelby County fiber line. Yeah. I think it was, if I remember correct. Now this has been a long time. This is back in November when I was talking to Waldron. But if I remember correctly, it was put in about 5 years ago.
Okay. Thank you.
So,
sorry.
Yep. Go ahead.
If we have, are we having some reliability issues with the internet? Is that kind of the?
Yes, we are having reliability issues with the internet. I did first look into buying the equipment from ENA, but the problem is Ruckus is having a huge problem with their devices just losing its firmware. So the switches will randomly go down because the device just decides to lose its firmware in an update. So with those issues, I've strayed away from buying the devices from ENA.
Thank you.
Not a problem. The next topic I have is the student Chromebooks. The Chromebook that was selected last year to be the replacement Chromebook for freshmen, 6th graders, and 3rd graders. That Chromebook has been discontinued by Lenovo. So I'm now going on a hunt trying to look for another Chromebook to kind of use as the replacement Chromebook for students. But the Chromebook that didn't appear to be getting discontinued last year got discontinued by Lenovo, so I have to look into other options.
Ben, can I ask you a question on that? It doesn't interfere with the fact that we have those Chromebooks and how they're working now, though, correct?
No, Lenovo's just not making new ones.
Those now. Okay.
Well, Lenovo's just not making new ones. So.
Okay.
The next topic I have is paper cut. This is something that's actively being looked into, but it's a system that would apply to our printers. And so when we put it on our printers, it would allow people to badge in and to type a number or to type an ID number in and to access their prints on any printer. So this helps us keep track, one, of who's printing and how much they're printing. It would allow us to have color printer availability in more places while also limiting who can color print. So that way we're not spending a ton of money on color ink. As well as it would also allow any teacher to send a print off to the printers, and it doesn't matter which printer they go to, they type their code in and it's going to print off. So they can print it from their classroom, go to the elementary school, because that's what they had to do, and then they're like, oh, I need to grab that print. They can just go to the elementary school printer and grab the print. It also helps with with privacy issues or privacy concerns, considering that the person who sent the print is the only person that can actually print out the paper that they sent out to be printed.
It also helps with unwanted print jobs, correct?
Yes, it would
Like
also
if we
help.
have print items that are sent and then no one's there to pick up the items.
Right, it's
we
not
wouldn't
going.
have those.
It's not going to automatically print. It's going to wait for you to show up to the printer, type in your PIN. So if someone prints something if someone sends it to the print queue and they don't go pick it up, it's not just going to print it off, and just wait for the user to come pick it up. It's going to wait for the user to show up, and then you have to select which jobs you'd like to release, and then those would be printed at that time. And the last topic I have here is I've been working with the cafeteria staff on the second chance breakfast and their POS system, point of sale system. The point of sale system for the cafeteria went down this past week, and so we replaced it with a point of sale system that was in storage. That point of sale system was brought up and is being used currently by the cafeteria. Right now I have it set up with a Chromebook that's remoting back into that point of sale system for like second chance breakfast. I have a Chromebook remoting back into it, but I have talked to Brycia, and she has advised that if this second chance breakfast looks to be successful, that we may be looking into getting laptops to basically put on carts for the second chance breakfast to make it much more usable, much more user friendly when it comes to second chance breakfast. So at this point, I have gone through all the topics, and I'm going to open the floor for questions.
I feel like I already interrupted you with my question.
No, you're good.
I think my only question would be with going to the Shelby County fiber line, waiting for that E&A contract to lapse. Do you know how much longer that has?
I didn't refresh my memory before
I think we got 3 years.
Yeah, so that was last year, so we'd have at least.
No, I thought it was a 5-year contract that we signed 2 years ago.
I don't recall it being anytime soon. That's why honestly that's why I can't remember it right now. I remember looking at it and I don't recall it being soon.
Yeah, I was curious what their buyout was and if it was a reliability versus cost. I mean, that's all your guys' department, but it's one of those things that, I mean, if we're having reliability issues, then it makes financial sense to go with another provider now.
Okay.
If it takes time for us to get there, I just don't want us to wind up being at the end of that contract and then it takes an extra year for us to get on the Shelby County fiber line. I mean, just a side note.
Yeah, and I am talking to the directors of the other Shelby County schools tomorrow, so I'll bring that up and we'll discuss that. See what's needed to get there, and then I'll take a look and see what the financial penalty is for getting out of that contract early, and see if that makes financial sense for us as a school corporation.
And none of those items are going to be voted on tonight. They're just items that just may come across our desks in the future. Thought it would be good though for you to.
Not voting on the Switch and AP project?
Nope, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. Thank you.
Thanks, Zach.
Very much appreciate you working on it.
Next, we have a presentation from Ms. Sidecoat on the new English language arts curriculum that we're looking at for the elementary school. Again, nothing to be voted on tonight, just sharing of some information for you for future consideration.
All right, so I'm Ashley Fivecoat. I think I know most of you, but just in case. Every 6 years, we adopt a new language arts curriculum as well as a new math curriculum. Last year was the math. If you remember, we went through that whole curriculum adoption process. We did the same thing again this year with language arts. Language arts is a little different because the Department of Education actually limited what curriculum we are allowed to even consider because it has to be specifically aligned with the science of reading. And that's kind of where everything is headed, is making sure that the curriculum is aligned with the science of reading, their assessments will be aligned with the science of reading, and getting everyone in the state on the same page. So when they narrowed that down, they narrowed it down to only 5 curricular options for elementary language arts total. One of them we eliminated fairly quickly because it is the program that we use with our high ability students. And we felt like it was pushing our high ability students into some higher order thinking, and we weren't sure that that was acceptable to do for the entire elementary school at this time. We need to kind of build a bridge from where we currently are to get our kids to that level, and just making that jump just didn't seem like a feasible option. The other options we kind of narrowed down based on either the content that we were given as samples from those curriculum, or based off of observations or conversations with other schools who do implement those. So we kind of narrowed it down to our top two. And then within that top two, we had all of our classroom teachers review that curriculum. We had them fill out a rubric and look at specific aspects of it, such as the vocabulary piece of it or the comprehension piece of it, and kind of weigh our strengths and weaknesses between the two. Mrs. Ellinghausen, a first grade teacher, Miss Go, and myself, we also traveled to a McGraw-Hill session and had them walk us through each individual piece of the open court curriculum. I've reached out to about 7 or 8 other elementary schools in the state of Indiana to talk to them about what they implement and what they see as good pieces of it versus things that they could use some supplemental materials for that they just didn't feel like it had enough of. So basically what we did is we narrowed it down to the open court curriculum. It is McGraw-Hill who is our current provider of our current language arts curriculum, but this one is aligned to the science of reading. It also has a much deeper emphasis on phonics and getting our younger kiddos where they need to be first, and then as they get older, we get into more of the word analysis, so like your Greek and Latin roots, but we get into your comprehension, we get into your fluency, but getting those core skills into our primary kids first, and then building upon that. So at the top of that document I shared with you, the price points for Wonders, which is our current curriculum, is up at the top. That was what we adopted 6 years ago. The price points for the open court for McGraw-Hill is what's immediately below that. It is a big difference in the price. However, we do have 50 additional students from where we were when we adopted 6 years ago. So because our enrollment's up, we do have to buy additional materials. This also includes for our kindergarten and first grade class, the big books. I'm sure you remember those from elementary school where the teacher can read from the huge, like 2-foot tall books, and the students each get mini versions of the same books to follow along with those. For kindergarten, first, second, and third, each classroom teacher would also get a phonics kit full of materials, hands-on manipulatives, books, all of the things that the kiddos can use on a daily basis in their classrooms. The kindergarten, first, second, and third also get decodable readers. It actually comes in a big book, and so each kiddo would tear out their own book, decodable readers, fold them up, read them in class, and all of those can go home, and they're color, and they're printed, and they're really cute. We also have interventions that are built in to this. So right now, our kiddos that receive interventions, especially the Title I kiddos, we are doing some research-based interventions, but the classroom teachers are also doing those same interventions simultaneously. So the kids are hearing the same thing multiple times, whereas with this curriculum having its own intervention, it would provide its system, and then the kiddos that don't get it from this would be able to do the pull-out services and get an additional, that's something different than seeing it twice a day the same way. And then in our 4th and 5th grade, it would have a word analysis kit instead of the phonics kit. And again, that's going to go into like your word parts, your affixes, your Greek and Latin roots, and things like that, and kind of push their thinking up to the next level. The only grade that would not be doing the open court curriculum would be 6th grade. That is the other thing that the Department of Education split is now if you adopt an elementary curriculum, elementary is considered K-5 for all curriculums, and then 6-8 is middle school. So our 6th grade curriculum, it would be the same company, and it's called Study Sync, and it is a true middle school curriculum. It focuses a lot, puts a lot of emphasis on like novel studies and research projects and more of the real world hands-on things. So that's going to help our 6th graders kind of get bumped out of the primary level of learning their phonics and their word roots and stuff and kind of bump them up to a true middle school level of learning. So that was kind of our process on adoption. That's kind of where we came up with our ideas and where everything came from. So I'm open to any questions, comments, concerns.
How long has the open court curriculum been out?
Open Court's been out since 2023, so it is fairly new. I know Rushville uses it, and I know, who was the other one? I'm so sorry, I can't, Indian Creek. Indian Creek recently adopted it as well.
Yeah.
So there are a couple local schools that I've talked to about what they think, and they said, you know, it's a great transition program. They're kind of in the same realm we're in, where we're not ready to jump to the high ability stuff yet, but it is a good bridge to help us on our way there.
Well, that took away my other question, because I was going to say how are their outcomes, but that's so new that it.
I was going to say it's still so new.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of
Okay.
data points on it yet. I know that it is really big in Michigan. I know the McGraw Hill representative I've spoken to says I think they have 9 schools in Michigan who have adopted it from the start. And on the Michigan state assessments, they're seeing a lot of growth. But again, that's the Michigan state assessment versus the Indiana state assessment, so I can't guarantee there's a correlation. But
Right.
When are you looking to implement?
Ideally, we would like to have it adopted for the next school year. I want you guys to have an opportunity to review it, to go over price points and things like that. Once we place the purchase order with McGraw-Hill, she said materials could be on campus within 2 weeks. We can get professional development for our teachers to learn how to appropriately use those materials, either at the end of the school year when we have that teacher workday built in, or summer, or we have the teacher workday in August right before we come back, just to give them a chance to look at the materials, look at the online resources, and get some training on how to use those.
The PD for the teachers, is that included in this package price?
Yes. Yep.
It is?
No additional price. Yep. They do an on-site PD where they would come here and do it, and then there's also a live virtual PD that you can access from your own home, and both of those are included with this, as well as a community of support that all the teachers would have access to, and then they also do office hours throughout the school year. So if from 3 to 4 you as a teacher have a question about how to implement something, they're available digitally, and that's all included with the price.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I'm gonna say all the things. We're all 5 in a similar price point.
Yes, the 2 that we had narrowed it down to that the teachers felt were the best fit for us, the total price difference was $1,500 for the 6-year adoption.
So did you ever say out loud what this number is?
No.
Okay. Can I say
You
it?
can.
Okay. So the total number for this elementary ELA curriculum would be $138,117.58. Now you're saying the government has pretty much said you have to use one of these 5 as a public school.
Correct.
Do you know, or does anybody know? Do charter schools have to follow that, or is that just public schools?
I think it's just public schools.
Okay. I said I was going to say all the things. So,
And I will say that's if you're going to adopt one, you have to choose from one of these 5. Some people choose to not adopt anything, and they use online resources or full resource or something else.
like piece it
But if you're going
together.
to adopt, yeah, correct.
Yes, absolutely.
And your price for the McGraw Hill Wonders, is that the price of 6 years ago?
Yes, that's what we paid 6 years ago for the entirety of the.
That's pretty. I mean, 6 years ago we paid $81,750 for a curriculum, and that was, I mean, that's not a big of an increase for 6 years. I mean, everything else seems to have tripled. So
The other thing just to look at too is we also have more students that we're purchasing for, and that's some of the cost. Some of the added cost too is just more students as well. So
Just to understand that better.
Yeah.
The state took away our book rental fees that we were getting, which as a parent, awesome.
Yeah.
As a board member, does the fee that they give us back, does that compare at all to what we're putting in?
About 75%,
Mm-hmm.
roughly.
And it was a different. I don't want to say. It was a different amount. Now they just have lumped that money in with their education fund. Correct.
Yes.
Where before it was separated. Now it's just a part of our education fund. So when you talk about education dollars or dollars increasing in the education fund, if the state talks about that money is a part of that increase as well. So it's not like if they're saying it's a 4% increase, well, 2% could be from us adding the curricular fees in there. So it's just important to know.
Sorry that I took that on
No,
a finance and state
Fine.
legislation direction.
The only other thing I would say with the price point though is when we had adopted Wonders, we got the bare bones of Wonders because it had also been adopted the 6 years prior to that. So we had used Wonders for 12 years. So this adoption price, the $81,000, was solely the disposable materials, the workbooks for the students. We didn't buy additional teachers, we didn't buy these phonics kits, we didn't buy any of the basal readers, the little readers, none of the additional things. So this is with us buying the entire package, basically starting from scratch to make sure that we have all of the resources.
Okay. So we touched there a little bit on, we can use one of these or we can piece together curriculum.
Yes.
I have an opinion.
Sure.
But as the curriculum director, is that a good choice?
I do not believe that piecemealing things together would be the best choice for us. I do feel like these curriculum companies, while yes, they are doing a lot of things to get their money's worth, they've also been able to dive into a lot more of that science of reading and have some research-based reasons why we do things a certain way. Whereas if we're piecemealing, we may be taking things that were appropriate 10 years ago, but the entire thinking of education is now not relevant to that anymore. And so if we were to implement that, we're not setting our kids up for success because that's just not the way that education is trended.
Would that also possibly negatively impact our test scores if we are using outdated materials?
It absolutely could, yes.
Is there any, since this is one of the curriculums that the state says we have to pick, does that help it to be aligned more with standardized testing?
Yes, it is supposed to be aligned with the iLearn benchmarks that are now coming up. I'm not sure how familiar you are with the state testing, but what they're doing with iLearn in the future is instead of all of the students taking one assessment at the very end of the year, and that's the only data piece the state gets, they're breaking it up into 3 benchmark assessments that they give throughout the year. And that way you can assess your students' data as the year's going on based on the state expectations. And so we can look at, okay, after the first benchmark, these kiddos were on track, these kiddos weren't quite there yet, and figuring out kind of where our deficits are. So the open core curriculum is aligned to where those benchmarks were and have their scope and sequence aligned to, okay, the first benchmark is going to assess them on this, so the first couple units cover this, and then the next one is this, and they have it kind of aligned with that.
Good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I've got 2 questions.
Sure.
Is this supposed to last 6 years, or is that how long this is anticipated to last us once we buy it? Is 6 years?
Yes. Yep. We're going to adopt it for the 6-year time frame. It could be like we did with Wonders, where if it is something that we feel supports our kiddos in the ways that we need it, it could be something that we just keep the same thing for 6 more years, and then the only price difference would be if we were to get more of the consumables, like the student workbooks and stuff, would be the only additional price. Or it could be after 6 years we decide this is not a great fit, and we go back to the drawing board and look it over again.
Gotcha. And then this may be a question for Bonnie and Jamie. Is that money all up front, or is that like expensed out over 6 years? Or
We pay for it up front, correct? Yeah, it's up front. So we pay for it once, then we have it for 6 years. And generally, curriculum's on a 6-year rotation, and you have a year for language arts, a year for math, a year for science, a year for social studies, a year for health, I think, and then also like related arts as well, so like art and music, something like that too. So there's a rotation that you can fall on to help with that. So
You said for Wonders we got bare bones,
Yes.
but for open court you did not go with bare bones.
We did not go with bare bones. We went with the whole shebang. Just with it being a new resource, with it being aligned to where they're headed with the science of reading and the assessments and things, I felt like to prepare our staff, we wanted to give them all of the resources we possibly could to begin with, let them figure out what we're going to continue utilizing and what we maybe don't need as much. And then as we continue, 6 years from now and look at it again, we might say, well, we really liked those phonics kits, let's get those again, but we didn't really use the big books and we can toss those out. But this is the whole shebang, everything we could possibly get.
You talked a little bit about piecemealing. I mean, even though we adopt a curriculum, sometimes as a teacher you find other resources that supplement what we have, and we still are able to do that to meet our kids' needs.
Yes.
So this is just, well, I've said in the past that the textbook doesn't drive the curriculum, the standards and the teachers drive the curriculum, but it is a strong resource that we use along with the other resources to tie into. So.
Yeah, and our goal with the adoption is to minimize the amount of supplementing that our teachers have to do as much as possible. We don't want them to have to either spend their own money or get on and find free resources that someone's created in their home. Like, yes, those might be great, but are they research-based? Are they good quality? Are they giving our kids everything that we need? So in buying all of the pieces with this, it's to try to alleviate some of that supplementing from our teachers and try to save them money, but also just make sure that they're getting the highest quality curriculum that we can get them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. All right, on to personnel. We have no leads, resignations, and terminations tonight, but we have a long list of recommendations to hire due to our spring sports coming here. So I'm going to do all these in one here. We have Ryan German as the speech facilitator. We'll be working with our SLP as an assistant. We've had before. Jed Relicke as a tech data manager or data administrator. Brett Andrews as the head varsity track coach. Kendall Mangrum as the assistant varsity track coach. Leslie Parker as the head junior high track coach. Brittany Butterfield as the assistant junior high track coach. Brian Eversold as the head varsity tennis coach. Sydney Abbott as the head varsity boys golf coach. Gary Muldoon as the volunteer assistant boys varsity golf coach. Colton Brown as the head varsity baseball coach. Scott Brown as assistant varsity baseball coach. Vanessa McManaway as the head varsity softball coach. Ethan Rather as the English language arts coach. Kendall Mangrum as the math coach. Zach Cunningham as the social studies coach. Those are for academic team. And then Katie Gray as the SAD sponsor. And these are all for the 24-25 school year.
Make a motion to, oh, sorry, you have to ask if there's questions.
Are there questions?
I'll make a
Go
motion
ahead.
to approve the hires.
Second. All those in favor? 7. Okay.
Okay, my comments. I have two things that I want to talk about this evening. Well, three actually. First of all, thank you for allowing us to move the board meeting to 5 o'clock. This accommodates the FFA Performing Arts and Dinner Show, and which I'm looking forward to attending after this. So thank you for doing that. It was helpful, and I think it's a valid reason to do it because it's for our kids. So I want to talk a little bit more about school year and class breakdown, because we talked about what the elementary school will look like next year. Because we're using that sensory room as a classroom, we will no longer have any more empty classrooms at the elementary school. So I wanted to just talk real quick about options that we have. No decisions going to be made or anything like that, but just some options. So if we look on to the 26-27 school year, and we continue with the trend that we have, we'll be having 3 sections of kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade at the elementary school, and then 2 sections of 5th and 6th grade. The issue that we run into though, is we have more sections than we have classrooms. So that creates obviously a conundrum for us, right? Because what are we gonna do? So, just something we're looking into, looking at options. Obviously, it's all dependent on class numbers, class sizes, and where we go from here. So, how are we gonna respond? We've always tried to maintain smaller class sizes when possible. We've discussed that a little bit already. There are 2 classrooms that are available at the junior senior high school. So an option we could do, or something that I propose if things remain the way they are, and it's not for a vote or anything like that tonight, just a discussion here, is that we may find ourselves in a position where we'll need to move our 6th grade students over to the junior senior high with the 7th, 8th, and then 9 through 12. This would, because there's 2 empty rooms at the high school, that would accommodate for our students, the number of students we have. It would also empty 2 classrooms up at the elementary school to accommodate the growth from the elementary school. Remember the last board meeting, I talked a little bit about ADM trends, student attendance trends, and we're growing at the elementary school, we're not growing at the high school, we're actually declining a little bit at the high school. So it makes sense to free up some space at the elementary school. So that's just something we're considering. Moving 6th grade to a part of a junior high and middle school, obviously it's not unheard of. I actually just presented earlier on about the English language arts curriculum. The curriculum we're looking to adopt for 6th grade is a middle school curriculum because there is no elementary curriculum for 6th grade. So it would feed into that. So if that was the case, well, I guess you already saw, this is the ADM we've had at the high school. Let me go there first. So our present ADM trends, as I said before, we're declining. This would put us at, if we moved the 6th grade over to the junior senior high, that would fit 298 kids at our junior senior high, which is only 5 more students than we've had than our largest number at the junior senior high, and we're talking about adding 2 more classrooms. So I think it shows that we can meet that. We have the space to meet that, and that would accommodate that increase. So, and you can kind of see the trend, and we went over this. This is actually ripped from the presentation I gave last time at the board meeting. So if we did that, this is what we would look at in the 26-27 school year. So we would be able to have 3 sections of K through 4 at the elementary school, and then 5th grade 2 sections, and then 6th grade would be at the junior senior high school. We actually create an extra classroom at the elementary school if we did this. So this is just an option for us, something to consider. Yeah.
And that would permit us that in the 27-28 school year, if that trend continued again, that extra classroom, that would allow us, we'd have 3 sections.
We could, it would allow us it would allow us a classroom then too, so that would accommodate for some of that growth. The other option we have is we take that classroom with 51 students, that grade level with 51 students, instead of offering 3 sections, we offer 2 sections of 25 and 26 students, and we wouldn't necessarily need to move our 6th grade over to the junior senior high, being that would be a 3rd grade level where we have, we start the island testing then. We also start, it's the last year where they can take I-read, and if they pass I-read, then they don't have to repeat 3rd grade. If they don't pass I-read as a 3rd grader, they'd have to repeat. So it's a high stakes year, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So the other thing is, and I've talked with Mrs. Hoeing a little bit, if we were to do this, she would make certain that our 6th graders and our 5th graders would get that celebration that our 6th graders have usually gotten every year, with a graduation, moving over to another building and making it special. So we would make it special for both groups that one year, meaning it would be next year if that's what we're going to do. So again, this isn't for next school year, it's looking at the 26-27 school year. But it is something we're going to need to make a decision on, because we want to make sure parents are aware, students are aware, and we do everything in our power to make sure the students are ready for that transition to a new building, so.
Now, are there any downsides to it other than that it's just not the way that we?
I mean, obviously, one downside you have is that you have sixth graders, younger students in with older students. That could be looked at as, something that could impact kids. We'd also try to be strategic though in where we place people and make sure that we provide as much separation there as possible. Yeah. There's a lot of logistics that are still to be worked out too, but if we're looking just simply at space, this is something I think we have to consider.
Any other thoughts on that, Liz?
It's a good problem to have.
Agreed. Agreed. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yep, I do. One other thing I want to talk about real quick is the survey results. Here, let me get this. Why is it not playing back? Any idea?
You made a video.
Convenient time.
FEMA on the spotlight.
Right here? Sorry, folks. Cat's fairly wrong. Okay, there we go. So, as you know, we had a community survey that we sent out. We also did one with our staff and students here. So I just want to briefly go over the results of that survey. I want to tell you all that everything I'm talking about tonight will be online tomorrow, so you can go through and look at the survey. Actually, what you're going to find online at the school's webpage will be more in depth because you'll actually be able to see the pie charts and how things are broken down and a little bit more. So this is just high level, real quick, some of the things we saw from this, and this will be a part of our strategic planning that we're going to be doing in the future too. So survey responses that we have, we'll start first of all from the community survey, some positives to take away. First of all, the school's role in the community sees that the school is a positive, can be a positive impact on the community, and there's a close tie between the community. Another thing that was shared was that came out that the community is under the belief that it's safe and welcoming to our students and community members as well. There's also an interest and agreement to invest financially in the schools that came in the survey, and you'll be able to, like I said, you'll be able to see the breakdown as well. Over half the respondents agreed that there's a positive perception of leadership, direction of the district, and then maintenance also of our buildings and grounds. And when you go in and look at those results, you're going to see, when I say half agreed, there was half agreed, and then there was also a large portion that was neutral as well. But on almost every single one of the questions, there was much more agreement than there was disagreement with all the statements that were made. And most of the statements that were made were in a positive reference of the school. So there's positive takeaways from that. Positive takeaways from the parent section. Academic progress, quality of education, educational resources, they felt like all those were relatively positive for our students and thought of positively. Leadership was approachable, focused on improving education and also listening to parents' concerns. Those were all positive, in agreement with. Felt like they were informed of their child's academic progress. And again, the safety, the safe environment here, they felt like it was a safe environment and that the kids are supported by their staff. And then also that we provide extracurricular opportunities for not only the kids, our students, but also that the parents can get involved in those extracurricular opportunities. There was opportunities for that as well. Areas of growth from the community survey, these are areas that were identified as maybe we need to do better. First of all, it's communication with the community. That's something that was identified from the multiple choice questions that we were given. Preparation for life after graduation. We need to do a better job of preparing our kids for life after school when they leave Southwestern, and making sure that they have opportunities and we tell them about the opportunities. And then the last one was transparency and clarity of the use of funds. So how transparent we are, what we're doing with our funding, and making sure that we're informing the community of that. The parent section, some areas of growth. Again, we have district communication, so working on that communication skills, and that's something that I'm going to be working on for the district side. Development of life skills and developing life skills for our kids, like perseverance, patience, working with other people. That's something that we could work on. And then also the last thing is handling bullying or safety issues. So the endorse that the school is safe, it's a safe environment, but then we also can do a better job of handling some of these safety issues and bullying in our schools. The 5 most common themes from the free response section, though. So there was a section there about just free response, what we're doing well. So these are some of the common themes that came out from that section. Strong sense of community and involvement. So they feel like that the school is a good part of the community and that we're involved in the community. Carrying a dedicated staff and administration, so the staff cares about our kids, as well as administration. Again, student safety, security, they feel like that it's safe, and that came out of the free response part. Improved communication and transparency. They feel like while it's not great, it has improved, and we're doing better with that, which is positive. And then last is academic and extracurricular opportunities. So the opportunities we're offering the students were thought of positively. Some of the things we can work on here, needed improvements for us as a district. Communication, transparency. While it's something we're improving on, it's something we can do better, was identified. Academic rigor and quality of instruction. I feel like maybe that is an area we need to look into, an area of growth. Some of the ways we do that is through professional development and providing that for our teachers. Another thing that was listed was inconsistent discipline, accountability, and how we're supporting our students. So those are just some of the themes that came out as well from that free response. Talk about extracurricular activities and how that meshes in with facilities and making sure we're giving the proper facilities for our extracurriculars. And the last was leadership and administration and how we can, talking about how that we can improve from leadership and administration. I will say that there also is a portion of those free response questions that nothing was listed at all. So that you have to keep that in mind too. While these were of the things that were said, these were some of the things that were said. So, and we're taking this to heart and we're gonna work on this as a district. So we had the staff survey, some positive things that we have from the staff survey. One of the things that I was really, really pleased with was the pride that our staff has in the district and working for the district. An overwhelming number of staff members strongly agreed that they have a pride of working at Southwestern. It's over 90% of our people agree that they show pride in our district, which is really, really positive, I thought. They feel like they're recognized for their achievements, recognized for good things that they're doing throughout the school day. They feel like the school's safe and they receive the support from administration as well, and they're getting good support. Collaboration, they feel like the collaboration is good and that staff members respect each other for the most part. And then they're also optimistic about the future and where things are headed. While we know that there's improvements we need to make, they feel good about the steps we're taking to get there. Identified areas of growth that came out. One was valuing input and getting input from staff and showing that we value that input. Building maintenance was a topic of discussion, just making sure that areas are clean, they're well taken care of, and that teachers and students have what they need. Professional development was another area. We need to provide professional development, PD opportunities for our staff, not only in curriculum resources, but also some of technology too. That was an area that was brought up as well. And then the better communication, better district communication. So again, we had that communication piece there of an area of growth from the staff survey. This is feedback. This is just the free response feedback that we got from staff. Areas, things we can improve in the working environment. A large number responded nothing, either nothing or it was blank. Nothing was put in there. Again, improved communication was something we can work on. We talked earlier about cleanliness and janitorial service, especially at the elementary school, and making sure that there's a clean environment for our kids there. Maintenance and facility improvements. And we also, we identified in the multiple choice questions that professional development, and it was endorsed as well in the kind of the free response feedback that we had. Positive takeaways from the student surveys. We surveyed the students. This was grades 4 through 12 because we thought 4 through 12 that those grades the students could provide feedback on their experiences that they have. Maybe the early grades they wouldn't understand the questions. It would be more difficult for them to understand the questions that were asked. So they felt like positive resources for learning and comfort with those resources and using those. They felt like they're getting what they need as far as the resources in class and technology that they're using. They feel comfortable with using those. They have a positive view of extracurriculars and how extracurriculars can impact their lives as students. They felt like they were safe. They endorsed being safe while they're at school. Access to friendships, and that they have, I think it was, again, over 90% of the students agreed or strongly agreed that they have access to another student or friends here at school, someone they can reach out to. And the disagreement was maybe 2%, if that. So, which is positive. That's what we want to see, is that they're making friends, they have friends here at school, and also a positive relationship with their teachers. They felt like overall that the relationship they have with their teachers and the support they get from their teachers is very positive. Identify areas of growth from the student survey, valuing student opinions, that they felt like sometimes staff doesn't value their opinion. So if they voice an opinion about something, that opinion's not valued from our staff. Responses to bullying or conflicts was another area of growth, how we respond to any bullying and how we respond to conflicts. Lesson engagement and making sure that students are engaged in the classroom, that was an area of growth. That students feel like the lessons weren't relevant, weren't engaging. And then the last one was that they want better preparation for the future. They want lessons and want some support to prepare them better for future opportunities outside of Southwestern. Most 5 common reasons they like their school. Again, there were some blank responses, but other things said, these are the things that were mentioned. They positive statements about friends, positive statements about teachers and the teachers that they have. They like the small school environment. They like the sports and extracurricular activities. They feel like those are positive impacts on them. And then also they like the community and being part of a school community, and that community that kind of wraps their arms around our school district and the people that are associated with that. Those were some of the positive feedback that we had. The common items that of the responses they gave, these were the items that were listed most. Bullying, harassment, and how that's handled. I felt like that was an area that we need to grow. Teacher quality and practices, what we're doing. Again, that may tie back to some of that engagement that I talked about before. College and career preparation, which goes right along with some of the multiple choice section we had, where students felt like they needed better preparation for the future. That was endorsed in the free response section. They felt like the school environment and cleanliness, that we could do a better job of making sure that the environment's clean for them. The last was lunch menu items, that we need to offer more lunch choices. So overall, I will tell you, and I didn't want to show all the pie pieces tonight, because if I did that, we would be here forever. I thought it'd be better to just hit it overall for everyone, and then you guys can go out and look at those responses and go online. Again, they'll be posted tomorrow morning, so.
Can you say how many people took it? Like, just for perspective.
I think for the community, there were
278.
270, was it 275, 276, something like that? Which doesn't sound like a lot, but I also just to relate it to something, I came from a district of over 8,000 students in it, and I think when we did a community survey, we had maybe 2,000 responses. So it's, ratio-wise, it's much better than that. So, yeah, so.
I believe it says on the actual survey too, the numbers, what'll be posted.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll say on there.
Yep.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
Is there anything immediate, like, it just stands out to me that you have an overwhelming amount of people upset about bullying, and when you include that the students are saying that too, is there an immediate response to that? Transparency to that? That's
I mean, obviously this is going to figure into any planning that we're doing, so it's obviously it's a large portion of our planning that we're doing for the future. When you see the results, there aren't, while bullying is an issue compared to the number of people, I guess, that say that we're handling it positively compared to the number that say we're handling it negatively. Positively much more outweighs the negative, but it was an area that there was more, I guess, more response that that's an area we can improve on. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So it's something we're looking at. It's something we're looking at. It's obviously something we're looking to improve. We wouldn't ask the questions if we didn't want the answers and we didn't want to know what we can do to improve that. So, yeah.
On the board member comments?
Yeah.
There.
No comment.
Of course I do, but I'm gonna keep it really quick. So Noah Schoolcraft received an award from the Chamber of Commerce, and this was probably one of the coolest things that I will ever witness as a board member, because he is the basketball manager, and both the varsity and JV teams showed up to support him in receiving that award, and we're hooping and hollering, and we're the first ones to stand up to cheer for him, and it was just a huge deal to watch how much they supported him. One of the coolest things I will ever witness, but I need to thank some people for making that possible, because those tables for those basketball boys were purchased by Jerry and Faye Petro, Butch Goral, Kyle and Rachel Barlow, and Rosie Punk. So a huge thank you to them for making that possible, because that is something, I mean, I'm an adult and I won't forget that experience. I don't think they will ever forget it either. So huge thank you.
Can I just say something with the
No.
I was there that night too. It was really cool afterwards because we got a big picture and watching Noah with the people that were there, and everyone was really excited for him, and it was genuine. And let me add this too. Sometimes when you have a large group of high school boys that tend to function like that, you kind of cross your fingers that they're going to make good choices, and they were awesome. They were super respectful. They were great attendees and great supporters of Noah too. So I was really impressed. Really.
We got nothing but compliments on all of the boys' behavior, so it was really awesome. And now I will. Yeah.
No comment.
We gotta get the concert.
I know.
Yeah, no comment.
Right. Thank you everybody for coming. congratulations to all the students of the month, and thank you, Rosie, for the seat.